What's up, broke to breakthrough fam? Michael T. Ragland here, and we're going to jump right into the Nvidia financial results for Q1 fiscal year 2025. So I've been looking forward to these, like to the surprise of absolutely no one. We knew they were going to crush it, but here on this channel, I'm trying to help you guys break those generational wealth curses. And one of those things to understand is the financial markets and how to read a earnings report. So I've taken it and broken it down to its simple forms. We're going to go through it layer by layer so you understand all the different factors that led to this crazy earnings report from Nvidia and the surprise 10-to-1 stock split. And like usual, I've given you guys cheat sheets to follow along with all this stuff. There's a link in the description, but I'll be reading through on my little financial report where I break everything down for this video, link below. But jumping right back into it, this is crazy. Looking at the revenue and total income for this quarter, it was 26 billion in revenue. This is an 18% increase from the previous quarter and a 262% increase compared to just last year. That is nuts. And of course, I've been talking about it in almost every video that I make, but that data center revenue has been crushing it. And remember, if you don't understand what data centers are just big buildings where all these servers that run the AI live, right? And in Nvidia's data center revenue, of course, they sell hardware and software for data processing and storage. But that was 22.6 billion, up 23% from the previous quarter. And wait for it, up 427% year over year. That is some next level stuff. But one thing that I want to talk about is selling shovels, right? So when we're looking at this in AI, there's so many companies coming out and they're just like, hey, we're gonna put AI in our app. There's gonna be AI in your rice cooker. There's gonna be AI in your lawnmower. And they're just using the APIs from these companies and paying a buttload of money to your OpenAIs and your Googles and your Anthropics, who are the makers of Claude, to actually use their AI to power whatever they're trying to power. Like, they're not playing the game right. They're not selling shovels. Nvidia, they're selling shovels. Fun fact, the first millionaire in California was a guy who didn't discover the gold. He found out that there was gold and he went and bought all the shovels and digging equipment in California. He became the first millionaire. That's where the concept of selling shovels came from. But Nvidia is in the game of selling shovels. When it comes to their chips and their GPUs and the data centers and the infrastructure behind AI, that's why they're up 427% year over year just on data revenue alone. And then I'm gonna throw another term at you guys, GAAP earnings per share. That's on the sheet, link below, but general accepted accounting principles. And we're gonna look at two different types of earnings per share. We're gonna look at GAAP earnings per share, that's general accepted accounting principles, GAAP, their standard guidelines for financial reporting. So their Nvidia's GAAP earnings per diluted share were $5.98. That's a 21% increase from the previous quarter and a 629% increase year over year. Like, these numbers just are blowing my mind. Let me know in the comments if this stuff is crazy to you guys as well. Like, I've hardly ever seen anything like this. They actually hit over the $1,000 mark like after earnings yesterday. It's nuts. And then the non-GAAP earnings per share, these are just going to be earnings that exclude certain expenses, right? And those non-GAAP earnings were $6.12. That's up 19% from the previous quarter and 461% year over year. And like I said at the beginning, that stock split and dividend increase was a big announcement. A lot of us were speculating that stock split was coming because what they want to do is just make it more approachable to the average investor. By splitting it 10-to-1, we can all invest in. And then if you have shares, it'll be split and you'll get 9 more shares. You're not going to get any more money because remember, it's going to be split evenly. And sometimes stock splits causes the stock to rise, but normally it's not really a non-starter. It's just a way to encourage more retail investors, or dumb money, if you will. That's me and you, if you're clocking, to actually get involved. They also increased their quarterly dividend by 150%, up to 1 cent per share on a post-split basis. And for those of you who don't know, dividends are just payments made to the shareholders from the company's profits. So pretty simple, right? But now let's get into some of the key drivers of growth. And you can probably tell me this before I even say it, but AI, the whole AI revolution, of course, has driven a lot of Nvidia's growth. On the actual earnings call, Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang, don't let me mess that up. This is the guy that's in my thumbnail. He mentioned that the shift towards using AI factories and their data centers that are optimized for AI processing. That transition is expected to increase productivity and efficiency across multiple industries. And then, of course, generative AI led a lot to that revenue growth. And generative AI is just like ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude by Anthropic. It's just the systems that spit out text, images, and other media. And that demand is just pushing up. I remember OpenAI saying they pay billions. Don't quote me on this, but it's like 10, 20 billion a year or something crazy just to train ChatGPT, which is just nuts. And remember, Nvidia is going to be supplying that infrastructure for a lot of these companies, and they're going to be paying that money to Nvidia, which is next level. And then, of course, AI is being put into everything else as well, not just cloud services, but consumer internet, business enterprise stuff, automotive, and healthcare. And that expansion is just going to create multiple multi-billion-dollar opportunities. They, of course, announced that new Blackwell chip and Spectrum X. And these are just technologies introduced by Nvidia to support large-scale AI computing and Ethernet-only data centers. And then it's crazy how this works so much, but it still can be considered a growth stock, but because they're continually innovating and looking at new opportunities. There's something called Nvidia NIM. This new software offers enterprise-grade optimized generative AI, which can run across various platforms, which is going to enhance the capability of businesses using Nvidia's technology. Then, of course, they partner with your AWSs and your Google Clouds and Microsoft, Oracles, and everybody else when you talk about cloud service providers that we use and love to really make those offerings even more awesome. So it's just crazy. It's just next level. Now let's get into some of the forward guidance for the next quarter. So they're forecasting revenue for Q2 fiscal 2025 of around 28 billion and gross margins. Remember, gross margins are just the difference between revenue and cost of goods sold. Well, they're expected to be about 75% next quarter. Operating expenses are expected to be around 4 billion GAAP and 2.8 billion non-GAAP, which is showing a focus on maintaining controlled costs while still driving growth. Like, to a lot of people, 4 billion looks like a lot, but it really isn't when you look at how much money they're making. 26 billion and 4 billion to operate. Like, I will take that margin any day. Like, that is a healthy business. And then, of course, for the full year projections, Nvidia is expecting to maintain those high gross margins throughout the year. And operating expenses are definitely going to grow, but that's only because they're doing R&D and strategic investments in other growth areas. But it's so much room when you got 4.8 versus 26. For the difference between your operating expenses and your revenue in just one area, actually, which is just next level. So plenty of room to grow and invest back into the business. It's not a big deal at all. Then, of course, gross margin improved to 78.4%. And like I said before, that's just indicates better efficiency and cost management. And operating income increased to 16.9 billion, which shows profitability, like they're selling all these shovels. And net income was 14.9 billion, which is just a strong overall performance. Remember, when I'm talking about gross and net, think about the Jay-Z line. It's gross what I net. Remember, the gross is before any of your expenses. The net is what you actually take home. You know, when you look at that paycheck, when you got your first paycheck back in the day and you're like, who in the hell is FICA? And why are they taking so much of my money? Well, you're looking at your gross pay. Your net pay was that little couple $100 that you actually got into your little bank account that you took to the 7-Eleven in cash was your little check. And then, of course, they had some strategic announcements. Like I said before, that Blackwell chip and platform is going to support large-scale AI computing with enhanced capabilities. Remember, when it comes to like semiconductors, you can have specialized chips, you can have like jack of all trades chips, because the name of the game is to shove as many transistors in there as you can, but they're down to 3 nanometer atomic level sized chips. So now companies are starting to build more specialized chips that are awesome at doing one thing, like AI computing. And that's what Blackwell and some of these other chips are. And then we look at Nvidia Spectrum X. That's just a new technology for large-scale AI and Ethernet-only data centers. I haven't done my research on this Ethernet-only data centers, but I would assume I have Ethernet cords running all through my house. Ethernet's always going to be faster. But somebody in the comments, let me know what an Ethernet only data center is. But it sounds expensive, but also super efficient, because even in the world of Wi-Fi, running a cable straight in is still going to be a lot faster in most conditions, depending on your connection. They also have some product launches that they announced on the earnings call. That's the Nvidia AI Enterprise 5.0. That's going to have new tools for faster app development. Their AI gaming technologies are coming out for integrating with gaming experiences. Remember, before the whole GPU and crypto mining and this whole AI boom, when I thought of Nvidia, I have an Nvidia Shield smart TV that can also play video games in my living room. I have a custom PC here that I built that I hadn't turned on in 6 months. I need to cannibalize the parts out of it and build a NAS. Anyway, this separate story. But I have it sitting right here. It has an Nvidia GPU, which is a 3080 in there as well, that I paid a pretty penny for. So when I thought about Nvidia, I thought about like computers and gaming and those things as well. So they've been such a good job to innovate in the market and really be in the right place at the right time to take advantage of this AI boom and the whole crypto mining craze and the rest of these things. And of course, they have the partnerships and collaborations. Like I said before, they're partnered with every major cloud provider and generative AI maker pretty much. And now they're in with Johnson & Johnson and MedTech to bring those AI innovations to healthcare and some of those other industries. One thing, I think there's a video floating around where they talk about the Nvidia Drive Thor platform. This platform has been adopted by leading EV makers for advanced EV AI capabilities. Advanced EV AI capabilities. Well, that's a mouthful. But you know how like when you have like LiDAR or cameras on your EV and you want to train it, you're just like, how do they train it not to run into stuff and put it in a bunch of scenarios on the road without endangering like innocent people? Well, this Nvidia Drive Thor platform is actually going to be like a emulator or a simulator that's going to allow it in real time to actually go through and go feed all those scenarios using AI to train the chips in the computer and brain of the car to react to these edge case scenarios. So it's super interesting, but it's crazy how they're innovating in every sector. Because every time when I thought about it, when I heard the automotive sector, looking at their breakdown, I'm thinking about like chips and stuff for cars. I didn't think about a platform for training autonomous or semi-autonomous vehicles. So they're just like ahead of the game. And then they have Project Group, which is a new foundation model for, wait for it, humanoid robots. So our robot is coming. But I just want everybody to understand all of these AI applications. It's not just a buzzword. It's like being integrated into every industry. It's making these more efficient and driving new opportunities and everything else as well. Like for me, a lot of people are just like, oh, AI is gonna take and steal our jobs. Like, no, it's not. I think of it like a cyborg. Remember, a cyborg is something that's enhanced by a computer, like the dude from Captain America, Bucky, with the robotic or cyborg arm. Like, he's still human or whatever the hell, you know, they call him, but he just has an enhanced arm. So that's how I'm looking at AI. Like, I'm using it to actually make me more fast and more efficient in my workflow. AI is not going to steal your job, but somebody who knows how to use AI to enhance their abilities and make them a cyborg or a superhuman is going to steal your job. It's always going to be a human is going to be filtering through the stuff, but we'll just be a lot more faster and more efficient. And remember, when it comes to investment opportunities, I don't want anybody ever to try to chase earnings, or if you're looking at Forex trading economic releases and stuff, because it can go up or it can go down and it's dangerous, right? Like, I like to trade like something in between the lines, which is kind of like support and resistance and those little gaps, right? Or trading supply and demand and going back and forth. You can make a lot of money doing that on some option strategies. Keep in mind, I'm coming out with an options ebook. Like, I'm already like 50 pages deep into it. I'll definitely link it up and tell you guys about it when I get it, because I feel like it's the quickest way to make your money grow. Not financial advice when you have a small account. Buy trading options, because you just have a control of a lot more assets for a minimal amount. So if all of this stuff was doing your head in, you like, what are these terms is, there's a key term cheat sheet down below. I'll put the cheat sheet for the Nvidia earnings call in a very simplified way of how to understand what happened on the link below as well. But the most important for you guys is to keep up with all these latest tech developments like your generative AI and AI factories or data centers, because that's going to give you an edge. And keep watching videos like this and from some of the other great creators out there that are going to educate you on these technologies to help you stay ahead of the game. And look at strategic partnerships. I did another video where I talked about like AI ETFs to invest in, and we weren't specifically talking about Nvidia. We're looking at AI infrastructure and some of the other plays and opportunities around AI, or shovels, if you will, that are feeding into the AI ecosystem, so you don't have to jump right on an Nvidia. But with that 10-to-1 stock split, it should be cheap enough where everybody can afford one share or more now, and it's a good time to get in. Not chasing it after earnings, but actually it is a long-term hold based on these fundamentals that I just showed you in this video. The key goal here is to help you break those generational wealth curses so you can leave more behind for your family than just debt when you die. And if you love this one, check this video out, linked right up here somewhere, because it is a banger as well. Until next time, this is your boy Michael T. Ragland. I am out. Peace.